Welcome to this episode of Pixar Movie Reviews. I am Josiah Milkey, of course. And today we are talking about a film that, for some reason, a lot of people seem to like and they'll put it in their top 10. But for me, it really doesn't do much. I know I said that about Ratatouille and WALL-E. This is the last one for this week that, for the time being, that I don't particularly care for. I'll explain why as we go about it, but today's Pixar movie that we're talking about is Up. This is Disney and Pixar's 10th feature film. It came out at the end of May 2009. It ended up being the #1 animated film of the year, in America anyway. Worldwide, it became #2 because of Ice Age 3, Dawn of the Dinosaurs from Blue Sky Studios. It was the second Pixar movie directed by Pete Docter after Monsters Incorporated. It did really well at the box office. In fact, at the time of its release, it made about $735 million worldwide, which at the time made it the highest grossing Pixar movie ever, second only to Finding Nemo. It also got extremely positive critical praise, and, like most of Pixar's movies, won Oscars. After The Incredibles, it was the second Pixar movie to win 2 Academy Awards. It was nominated for 5, the same number as Ratatouille, and 1 below WALL-E. I think I forgot to mention this on my WALL-E review, but WALL-E won Best Animated Feature. Up won 2 Academy Awards, Best Animated Feature, like most of Pixar's films in the last several years, and it also is the first and only Pixar movie so far to win Best Score at the Oscars. Other Pixar films were nominated, but Up is so far the only Pixar movie that's actually won Best Score at the Oscars. The story is about Carl Fredricksen, an elderly man who had wanted to go to Paradise Falls with his late wife, Ellie, for years, but financial problems always caused them to put their plans on hold. So when he finds out he has to move into a retirement home, he decides to tie 10,000 helium balloons to his house and fly the house to Paradise Falls. Unbeknownst to Carl, an overeager 8-year-old kid named Russell finds himself in the wrong place at the wrong time. Carl's front porch, right during takeoff. Russell wants to assist Carl and earn his final Wilderness Explorer merit badge, assisting the elderly, so that he can be a senior Wilderness Explorer. Their adventure takes them to the jungles of South America, where they make new friends like Kevin, a flightless 13-foot-tall jungle bird, and Doug, a hunting dog who's special because he can talk thanks to the special collar his master, Charles Muntz, equipped him with. So Carl and Russell go off on this adventure together and find out that sometimes the best adventures aren't the ones you set out looking for. Now, there are some good things I like about Up. The dogs are an absolute favorite of mine. Doug is probably one of the best Pixar sidekicks I've ever seen, and his voice is provided by the co-director of the film, Bob Peterson, who had also voiced Roz in Monsters Incorporated and Mr. Ray in Finding Nemo. Doug is very loyal, he's lovable, he's friendly, he's just about the best friend you'll ever want to have. Wish I could say the same for Russell, and he is good to an extent, but the idea of pairing him, this little overexcited little kid, with a grumpy guy, old guy, for some reason it just didn't feel like a good Pixar pairing of an elderly man and a little kid. It's kind of the same problem that my friend Rachel Wagner has on Brother Bear, where you've got Kenai, the main protagonist, who's a big grump, paired with this chatty little bear cub named Coda. While Up doesn't apparently do this kind of relationship better than Brother Bear did by Rotten Tomatoes and box office reception, I don't know, for some reason Carl and Russell just don't do it for me. The villain is also kind of interesting. Charles Muntz starts off as Carl and Ellie's childhood hero that they would see in movies and read about in books, but when Carl and Russell actually meet Charles Muntz, they discover he's actually after the bird that Russell has befriended, Kevin. They find out later she's a girl, but he still calls her that even after. Muntz is actually kind of interesting, as he seems like a nice guy, welcoming Carl and Russell into his blimp and giving them dinner and stuff. But then they find out he's actually after the same bird that they've got, so he ends up actually wanting to pursue them and goes right down to killing them, or nearly killing them, to get what he wants. So he's kind of in the same vein as Prospector from Toy Story 2 and Waternoose from Monsters Incorporated, in that he seems like a nice guy at first, but then later you find out you shouldn't trust him. Also, the first 10 minutes of the film with Carl and Ellie as kids, and then growing up enjoying a married life together, that's actually a part I really do like. After the first 5 minutes or so, the rest of it is no dialogue, it's all acting and music. The music by Michael Giacchino is wonderful in this film. So that's really sweet, is the first 10 minutes. While there are some good adventure bits, like when they're going through the jungle and stuff, the first 10 minutes are really the highlight of the film for me. That and the climax on the blimp at the end. So, really the biggest problem I have with this movie is actually Carl. While some people might like him and can empathize with him for feeling bad that he couldn't fulfill this dream for Ellie, some of his methods that he takes aren't very good. He constantly mistreats Russell and Doug. He barely smiles. In fact, I noticed he even smiled less than Kenai and Brother Bear. And he actually, after Kevin is captured by Charles Muntz, Carl gets his house to Paradise Falls, and then he reads the message from Ellie that their life together was adventure enough. And every time I see Carl going off to help Russell save Kevin, after he's fulfilled what he wants, I'm like, it's a little too late, Carl. So Carl is probably the biggest problem for me in terms of the choices he makes and how he acts toward those around him. Granted, he does reform, and he turns out to be not so bad once he does reform himself. But yeah, being a main character that's a total grump the whole time, Carl just doesn't do it for me. So, while most people would have this in their top 10, I actually have Up currently on my Pixar movie ranking list at number 17, which is only 5th from the bottom. It's right above WALL-E. So, I know that sounds kind of mean, but this is just my opinion. Box office and Oscars don't always guarantee a great movie, but if you like Up, let me know in the comments section below. Try to be nice about it, and I'll see you next time. I'm Josiah Milky. Thanks for watching.